Hello and welcome to this UniTaster On Demand event today. My name is John Cheek. I'm here from UniTasterDays and it's my job to introduce the event and introduce our speaker. Today we're going to be exploring university courses in hospitality management, and I'm delighted to be joined by Pippa, who's joining us from EHL, who are based in Switzerland for this event. Pippa is actually based in the UK but supports schools and colleges UK-wide with various university courses, of which hospitality management is a big specialism of EHL. So with these events, we look at reasons you might want to consider the course, what to expect on it, application tips and careers. And with that, I'll pass things to Pippa, please.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, John, for introducing me and EHL. So as John said, I'm going to cover a number of areas, including why you might want to consider hospitality as a course and a career, what you could expect from a hospitality management course, an overview of some of the careers that you'd be able to go into following that course, and also some tips on how to complete a really good application. So I'm just going to share my screen. Okay, so let's start with why study hospitality. So the hospitality industry has obviously taken a really big hit during the pandemic. And so you might be thinking, is this really a great idea for me to go into this area and study this at university? Well, I think the short answer to that is yes, it is. Hospitality will come back with a big bang. If you think how much you, your friends, your family are all really excited to go out to restaurants again, to be able to go on holiday, to parties, to festivals, all those big sporting events that everybody loves, all of those things are part of the hospitality industry. And as COVID restrictions begin to lift around the world and we begin to live our lives more fully again, they will become even more important. So let's start with what is hospitality. I think there's a real misconception that hospitality is entirely focused on hotels, but that's just one aspect of working in hospitality. Hospitality does, of course, include managing hotels and restaurants, and if that's what you're interested in, then this is definitely the course for you. But it also covers so much more, and I will cover some of the other career options a little bit later on. But I think it's also useful to think of hospitality as a frame of mind. Do you like working with people? Do you enjoy providing amazing experiences for people and making them happy? Are you focused on those really small details that make such a big difference? And is service excellence something that you aspire to and would like to deliver to customers, to clients, or even potentially to patients? If the answer to these questions is yes, and you also have an interest in business, then hospitality could be the course for you. So at the end of the day, hospitality businesses are still businesses with all the functions that any other business has, such as operations, such as finance, HR, or marketing. So I think it's really important to say that this is very much a business style course. And the degree covers traditional business topics, such as economics or accounting or strategy. And some of those will be more general. For example, you might do some microeconomics or macroeconomics, or you might study statistics, which would be quite generic. Whereas some of the courses will be much more specific to hospitality. So for example, again, you might do food and beverage cost control, you might do hotel asset management. So hospitality courses focus on business theory and application, as well as some hospitality specific topics. And as a university like EHL, we will also include some amazing internships, which are integrated into the course and part of your time at university. So there's a hands-on learning style combined with business theory, both during your time on campus, as well as during your internships. So you're probably asking yourself now, if I'm studying business strategy and finance and marketing, how is that different? And how is a hospitality degree different from a normal business degree? Well, the answer to that is, well, yes, you would be studying theoretical business elements, such as marketing and HR aspects of the business. But in a hospitality degree, you are also learning by doing. You can see on the slide there, on the left-hand side, some of the things that you might study. So those are the more academic parts of the course that you would find potentially in a business degree as well, economics, management, accounting, thinking about innovation, marketing, all of those things. But that middle section as well is all about how we learn by doing and the things that you do alongside that. So as I said before, at EHL, all students undertake 2 6-month internships starting in your first year. That involves job applications, it involves interviewing, working in a real work environment, and also things like networking and working in groups, which are so important in any part of hospitality. So when you start your first job after university, you would normally learn all kinds of things that you didn't already know, that you hadn't learned at university. But in hospitality, because you're learning by doing from day one, through the courses on campus, through your internships and work experience, it means that alongside those academic parts of the course, you're also learning soft skills. So by the time you graduate, you will already be ahead of the game and your peers. So finally, on the right-hand side, by doing steps 1 and steps 2 alongside each other, you learn the really important human aspects, negotiation skills, time management, things like cultural sensitivities and working under pressure are things which you'll learn by doing and working in the real world. And it's those human aspects of business which are really important in any service industry or any business focused on service excellence. And so by learning that alongside the academic aspects, you'll come out of a hospitality degree with a professional profile, with professional skills, and really ready to start work in a meaningful way from day 1. So moving on, let's think about what can you expect from a course. So if you've decided that you like the sound of that, you think hospitality sounds fun, you're interested in business, but you'd really like to do a combination of hands-on learning and academic learning together, then hospitality might be the course for you. So I can obviously only really talk about the Bachelor in International Hospitality Management at EHL. So I will mention some specifics, I hope that's okay, but there will also be lots of other common elements which you would also find at hospitality universities and other courses as well. So first, just to tell you a tiny bit about EHL. EHL is a university based in Switzerland. We were founded in 1893 in Lausanne, which is where our main campus, you can see Lausanne on the left there, is still based. And so for over 125 years, we've been pioneers in the field of hospitality education and setting the standards worldwide. We also have 2 other campuses, one in the mountains, you can see in the middle there, over on the eastern side of Switzerland. And this year we've also opened a new campus in Singapore. There are opportunities to follow a more academic pathway or a more professional pathway, which is a little bit more like an apprenticeship. But either way, compared to a more traditional university, you can expect the courses to be really collaborative, very hands-on and practical, to include internships, to include travel and work experience. And so it really gives you that opportunity to do practical and academic learning side by side on any of our campuses. So for example, at EHL, as I said, all our students undertake 2 6-month internships. This gives you a full year of work experience built into the course. And I know that most universities doing hospitality will do a similar kind of thing. The first internship is usually in an operational role within a hospitality business. And the second is more of a management role and can still be in hospitality, but might also be in another related area. At EHL as well, you can do those anywhere in the world, and there are hundreds of opportunities for you to apply. So you can make it what you want and follow your own passions, decide which areas you're really interested in, and then apply for something that's going to suit you. So for example, you could start with an internship in a hotel in a big city like New York, and then complete your second management internship somewhere like a luxury resort within the Maldives, if that's where your interests lie. Equally, you could work in a different kind of business or in something totally different altogether, like marketing. So the world is your oyster, and it's up to you to grab those opportunities where they are. I'm sure that other universities, again, are similar, but at EHL, we have 2 careers fairs each year where you can network with employers, you can decide which companies you like, and you can identify where you want to work or complete those internships as part of your course. So alongside the practical elements of the course, you will learn about business. And I can only speak for EHL again, but our bachelor course begins with a preparatory. I think this might be slightly different from some universities where it's built in throughout. The way we do it is in our first year, we call it the preparatory year, and you can see that on the schedule on the screen, which is where students undertake a series of workshops and classes covering all operational aspects of hospitality, which might be from working in one of the bars or restaurants on campus, and there are lots of those, including a Michelin-starred fine dining restaurant, to something like working in reception or working within the rooms division. This will give you a hands-on experience of hotel and restaurant management operations before you head off onto your first internship. So that preparatory year also lays the professional foundations for you to be able to apply your knowledge in the more managerial and strategic aspects of the course when you come back to campus in the second year, where you will then learn some more business foundation skills, followed by applying management theory, and then finally learning to integrate strategy and innovation into your thinking. All students then undertake a project in their final semester, either as part of a team completing a real consulting project for a real client, or if you prefer, you can take an individual research project and write your own thesis, depending entirely on your interests and where your passions lie. So whilst I've obviously spoken here a little bit about the specifics of our course, I think it's fair to say that all hospitality courses will include both theoretical business elements alongside practical learning and work experience and internships, which give you a really well-rounded experience and prepare you really, really well for the workplace when you come out ready to crack on and get working. So moving on, again, I'm going to now tell you a little bit about the potential careers that you could go into with a degree in hospitality. So no, there is no one career path, and every student has their own passions and interests, and there are so many different areas that you can go into. So whilst you might be studying the same courses as your peer group at university, the career you choose to evolve following that can really follow so many different pathways. At EHL, you can see on the screen that we have an approximately 50-50 split between our graduates going into the hospitality industry within management roles and students going into other areas. So within hospitality, there are obviously the really obvious things like hotel management or working within restaurants, but even within that, there's a huge amount of variety. So you could work for a large international chain or a small family-owned hotel. There are city hotels, there are amazing luxury resorts, budget hotels, and hotels targeting business travelers. So all of those have really different needs, and it's the job of the hotel staff and the general manager to really meet those needs in the most appropriate way. Other areas which are still hospitality specific are things like travel and tourism, be it working for a large airline, for a cruise company, a local tourism board, or within something like ecotourism, or really recently health and wellness has become a really big area with spas and that kind of thing really growing. So there are a multitude of different jobs and roles within all of these areas that you could think about. Food and gastronomy is another relatively obvious area within hospitality. So again, you could be an entrepreneur and run your own business if that's what suits you and you want to run your own restaurant. You could work for a famous restaurateur and help them develop their brand and their chain of bars or restaurants, or you could go and work in the wine industry. Entertainment and events management is also an area that's of interest to lots of students, be that corporate events or things like film and music festivals, helping to plan people's weddings or parties, working in theme parks, and even large sporting events going on that you can get involved in. In addition to that, there are obviously lots of opportunities as well, those are all hospitality and leisure and tourism related areas, but there are also lots of other things you can do too. On the right-hand side of the screen there, you can see some of those. So luxury is a very big area and it's really popular, be that luxury travel or working within luxury goods. So for example, you could be involved in luxury goods marketing for a premium brand within fashion, within jewelry, watches, cars is a big area. So if you look at some of the brands in the middle there, you can see quite a few examples of companies that do come and recruit from EHL and from other hospitality schools because they're really interested in that high-end customer service and focus on business. Businesses who rely on any kind of business who relies on high levels of customer service and soft skills that we develop through the hospitality training are also relevant. So again, you can see there some examples in the middle, but every year we have hospitality graduates who go and work in banking and finance. You can see Goldman Sachs on the screen and UBS. Consulting is also really popular, often within the hospitality sphere, marketing, real estate and property. And so within that, imagine you could be buying and selling hotels, you could be helping a large international chain decide where to open their next hotel, what design concept it will have even. So there's all different possibilities with a degree in hospitality. And at the end of the day, you're studying a business degree with a focus on hospitality and that service excellence, which is so important, and that attention to detail. So finally, some tips for how to apply and how to put in a really good application. Obviously, there are the normal things that you would consider for any application, like making sure that you've got good grades. And even though we don't have specific subject requirements, there are some subjects which are more suitable and that would be really useful for you and make your application stronger. So for example, subjects like business or economics at A-level or in BTEC, languages are also important, and maths is really useful. It's not essential, but it is useful for all of those business topics that you're going to study later on in the course. But alongside that, at EHL, certainly we take a holistic approach and we look for evidence of soft skills alongside that, for example, people skills and an interest in things outside of academics. So think about things like leadership and teamwork. How can you develop those? Think about your motivation and how you can demonstrate those skills. So I think a few specific things. Firstly, find out about the course that you're applying for. So why do you like that specific course and what aspects of it appeal to you at which universities? So obviously I've talked about one course, the course at EHL today within hospitality management, but if you were looking at other courses as well, then think about the real specifics of the course and why you would be a good fit. Also develop your passions and think about what makes you unique. Hospitality and business is, if that's what appeals to you, that's great, but what we're really looking for is people who have a personality and who have a character that will suit that industry and have really spent the time developing those skills and thinking about where their passions are. So how can you develop your interests in a way that's going to strengthen your application? Work experience is really important, obviously, so if you can get some experience within hospitality and start to develop your skills, that's fantastic. Obviously, that will strengthen your application, but it will also have the benefit of allowing you to try out hospitality to see if this is an area that you're going to love and that you're going to enjoy working in the future. So are you good at working with people? Did you enjoy being part of a team? Identify what skills are important and then really think about how you can demonstrate that you've got those. Understanding the industry is also important. So you're talking about, if you're thinking about coming into the hospitality industry and doing a hospitality course, then really understand what that means and who the key players are. So what are the key trends? What's happening in recent years in hospitality? So obviously in the short, recently there's been things like Airbnb, which has been a big disruptor within the industry. Things like eco-travel and sustainability are really increasing and are a focus within hospitality, but also think about what might happen in the future. Innovation is a really key part of any business and none more so than in hospitality. So we can see from COVID already, this has had a huge impact on travel and tourism in the short term, with people, for example, in the UK now very much more taking staycations. And I think that that will continue, as well as things like health and safety measures in hotels that maybe weren't there before. So we can see what's happened in the short term, but what about in the medium to long term? So the world as we knew it has probably changed and may not go back to how it was exactly. So how do you see it evolving? Really think about that and have an opinion and some ideas on how that could affect you, how that could affect the hospitality industry, and how you'd like to contribute to moving that going forward. Innovation and adaptability are key in all businesses, and for hospitality, it's absolutely essential that businesses adapt to be able to keep up with the times. Finally, I think my last tip would be to really understand the career opportunities for this type of course. I spoke about those earlier, but being able to think about the options, think through what you could do, and be able to talk about them in an interview if you're asked about that, about what interests you, why you're interested in that particular aspect, and what kinds of things you want to do is going to be a really useful thing for you to have done before you have an interview. Thank you so much for listening to the video. I hope that you found it useful and informative. And if you would like any more information, then my contact details are on the screen. And please do feel free to email me or get in touch. Have a great day, and I hope to meet you sometime soon. Thank you. Bye.